If you are dealing with chronic diarrhea and you feel like you are constantly running to the bathroom, it could be a signal from your gut that something is off. Today, I'll be sharing a little bit about what can cause diarrhea and some of the most effective ways I have found to relieve diarrhea and have more regular bowel movements. First, I want to introduce you to the Bristol Stool Chart. This is a great chart to reference when it comes to understanding what a healthy bowel movement should look like. Ideally, you should be having 1 to 3 fully formed bowel movements a day that hit somewhere in that 3 to 4 range on the Bristol Stool Chart. You definitely should not be running to the bathroom after every single meal, feeling this sense of urgency and like you can't hold it in. And you definitely should not be having loose, broken up, jagged, or watery bowel movements. Now, if you're creeping closer to 1 or 2 on the Bristol Stool Chart, that's going to indicate constipation. So definitely check out my other video that is all about constipation and how you can relieve it naturally. So what can cause diarrhea? Often it's going to be multiple things that are contributing, and every case is unique. But some of the top things that can cause and contribute to chronic diarrhea are going to be things like microbiome imbalance, so you have an imbalance of healthy bacteria in your gut, or you have a bacterial overgrowth in your gut or some sort of gut infection. Food intolerances, so things like gluten, dairy, processed foods, sugars, etc. Chronic gut inflammation, so things like IBS and IBD. Chronic stress and nervous system overload, so you're just stuck in this fight or flight, extremely anxious and stressful state, and this can show up as diarrhea and digestive distress. Parasites, so a parasitic infection that can contribute and cause chronic diarrhea. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies, this can lead to things like leaky gut, chronic inflammation, so your body, specifically your digestive system, is lacking the raw materials from minerals and nutrients to repair and run a healthy digestive system. Infections, so it could be things like E. coli, C. diff, or something called H. pylori. This bacteria under a microscope almost looks like a screw, and it burrows into the lining of your stomach. So what it can do is reduce your stomach's acid, which in turn can impact your stomach's ability to break down food. And it can contribute to diarrhea as well as constipation. Some individuals are going to find themselves fluctuating between the two. Now I want to talk about some steps you can take to get relief from chronic diarrhea. This is where I would start. Number 1 is I would take a look at your diet. When it comes to chronic diarrhea, especially if you find yourself running to the bathroom after every single meal, this can indicate that you are having a reaction or a sensitivity to the food you eat. Chronic diarrhea also indicates inflammation of the gut lining. Another term for this is leaky gut, indicates that there are tiny holes or openings in your gut lining. There's a lot of inflammation, things aren't tightly sealed. So when you're eating food, instead of these food particles passing through your digestive tract, they're gonna be passing through that gut lining, that gut barrier, and going into your bloodstream, which can cause a lot of severe reactions and additional symptoms. I would recommend looking into cutting out certain food groups for just a short period of time, especially things like dairy, gluten, processed foods and sugars, and high-fat meals and saturated fats. These food groups tend to cause the most reactions in your gut when your gut is compromised and you're dealing with chronic inflammation. You want to remove things like dairy and gluten one at a time for about 5 to 7 days instead of everything at once. That way you can really pinpoint exactly what is helping you or what is causing a reaction. I would then recommend introducing a few foods to try. These foods will not only add some bulk to your digestive tract, they're also going to be very gentle on your digestive system and ensure that you're getting adequate nutrition. Number 1 would be plain white rice that is cooked. You don't want brown rice because brown rice has an outer hull and that can be irritating to a sensitive gut. But plain white rice that is steamed is going to be very gentle and easy to break down. I like to combine steamed white rice with something like bone broth. The gelatin in bone broth is going to be very healing and restoring to that gut lining. Also, you can add in something like a dairy-free yogurt. Mixing that in with the rice makes a nice, bulky, but easy to digest food. You can also swap the dairy-free yogurt in with some slow cooked or stewed meats. You want to make sure they're low-fat meat, but mixing that in with the white rice, this can be such a great, hearty, dense, but easy to digest food that's going to be gentle on your gut while also encouraging healing. You also really want to stay on top of your hydration because when you're dealing with chronic diarrhea, this can lead to chronic dehydration. So make sure throughout the day you're consuming good quality filtered water or spring water. Add in some electrolytes. I'll share my favorite one and link it below. And then also drink gelatin-rich bone broth. Again, gelatin is like a seal for your gut lining. It's very healing, but it's also nutrient dense. And gelatin contains a lot of amino acids, which are the building blocks for tissue repair, which is something your gut lining really needs. If you don't like bone broth, you can consume a gelatin powder like this one. You can mix this gelatin powder in with a warm beverage. It doesn't have a taste. You can throw it into your smoothie. And it's a great way to still get that gelatin in if you're not a fan of bone broth. Next, let's talk about herbs, specifically tannin-rich herbs. Tannin contains astringent properties. Astringent properties help to reduce fluid in the intestines. It's going to be things like oat bark, blackberry root, and nutmeg. I'll link my favorites below. Now let's talk supplements and products. These are my top recommendations that I have seen great success with when it comes to helping my clients navigate chronic diarrhea, IBS, and IBD. Now, when I walk you through these supplement products, I find that with my clients, when they're dealing with chronic diarrhea, these are sensitive individuals. So when you introduce a supplement or a product, I recommend starting with half the recommended dose, working very slowly and titrating up just to ensure that you don't have a sensitivity to it and your body responds well. Any product or supplement you start taking should make you feel better. If you start to feel worse, you have new symptoms, this is a sign it is not working for you. So discontinue it, reduce the dose, pause it. You want to ensure that your body is responding positively to any products you're introducing. I also recommend introducing one new supplement or product at a time. If you start taking everything I'm recommending all at the same time, you're not going to really know what's helping you or not. So introduce one product at a time for about 3 to 5 days, and then add in the next one if you need additional support. Number 1 is Digestive Enzymes. I like this Advanced Digestive Enzyme by Thorne. This one does contain some gallbladder support as well. Now, if you feel like you're pretty sensitive, you might want to consider this other digestive enzyme, which is a full spectrum one, which doesn't contain as much gallbladder support. Digestive enzymes are going to help you digest and break down the food you're consuming. So this can really alleviate your digestive tract from undigested food or having additional reactions. I recommend starting with 1 capsule with every large meal that you're taking, and you might need to play around with the amount. Sometimes you need to take a little bit more, or you want to take 1 capsule before you eat and 1 capsule after you eat. Definitely dial in what works best for you. Next is Saccharomyces boulardii. This is a probiotic yeast. What I like about Sac B compared to most probiotics is it is going to be a protective yeast. It's especially helpful when it comes to diarrhea that's driven by C. diff, E. coli, any sort of infection. Many of the clients that I've worked with who have suffered from chronic diarrhea or IBS, IBD, they are already taking a probiotic or they've tried probiotics and it makes them feel worse or causes them to have more flare-ups. What I like about Sac B is it's not like other probiotics. It's just a probiotic yeast. It's going to be protective. It's going to kind of bind to the toxins, the bacteria, and help to rebalance the gut microbiome. And just a reminder, you might be sensitive. So when it comes to introducing something like Saccharomyces boulardii, I would recommend going slow, making sure you're paying attention, you're being very intentional, and even better if you can work with a certified practitioner to walk you through the process. And then I'm a big fan of finding a good binder that works really well for your body, because often you're going to be dealing with inflammation and most likely some sort of infection in the gut. A good binder is going to absorb toxins, bind up all the junk and help your body manage that toxic load a little bit better. I like GI Detox. However, again, those dealing with chronic diarrhea, IBS, IBD, they're going to be more sensitive. So GI Detox does contain charcoal and clay. If you're sensitive to that, I also like this one. This is Ultra Binder. It's made for sensitive individuals, so it doesn't have a lot of the ingredients that somebody is going to react to when they take a binder. And then if you don't do well with any sort of charcoal or clay, I like Enteros Gel. This is a silica-based binder. You can find it off of Amazon. And what I like about this specific binder is it's not going to absorb to vitamins and minerals. When you take a charcoal or clay-based binder, like the GI Detox, you don't want to take it with other supplements and you don't want to take it with a meal. You want to take it away from food and supplements because you don't want it binding up to the nutrients in your supplements and food. But what I like about Enteros Gel is that it's not going to bind to the important stuff. It's going to bind to the bacteria and toxins. But just to remind you, everybody's different. I often find that those with chronic diarrhea are chronically sensitive. So you're going to want to find which binder and which product works best for you. And then if you're dealing with painful inflammation, so you have the chronic diarrhea, but you're also in a lot of pain and discomfort, I really like this product called GI Relief. It contains ingredients like slippery elm, which is going to be soothing and coat the gut lining, and aloe vera, which is also soothing, calming, and anti-inflammatory. Now at this point, if you feel like you've tried everything, you're dealing with a lot of chronic symptoms, you have this chronic diarrhea, you've gone the natural route, you've tried these remedies at home, and you're still running to the bathroom every single day, this is when something like functional lab testing can really give you a lot of insight as to why you're dealing with these symptoms. My favorite functional test for diarrhea is going to be a stool test called the GI map. What I like about this test is it's going to look at things like C. diff and E. coli. It's also going to look at your gut's microbiome, so how much good bacteria versus overgrowth of bacteria you're going to have. It's going to check for H. pylori, it's going to check for parasites, and it's also going to look at a lot of digestive health markers as well as inflammatory markers. So this can really help you connect the dots as to why you're experiencing this chronic diarrhea. Another test to consider would be breath testing when it comes to SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So if you have diarrhea or if you're fluctuating between constipation and diarrhea, but you also have severe bloating, painful, your stomach's distended, you're reacting to almost every meal with bloating, that's where a breath test can be more accurate when it comes to pinpointing SIBO. So diarrhea is not just something you want to stop, although getting relief quickly is important. Diarrhea is a signal from your body and your gut that something is off, and there's often going to be more than one underlying cause. Short-term relief matters, but long-term relief comes from understanding why it's happening. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe and let me know in the comments what topic you're interested in me talking about next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.